What's up, everybody? So it is Saturday morning, October 15th, and I am currently up here in the Britton district, and I'm waiting on my friend Zach. We're gonna go across the street over here to Zero Tolerance Coffee, and it's been a little while since I've been up here, but every time I come up here, I meet Zach because he lives not too far away from here. So anyway, I got here a little bit early just so I could set up the tripod and just get some kind of B-roll footage for this. And as long as he's okay with it, I'm gonna film some of our coffee time, but we'll see. He doesn't like being on camera, so it may have to be no faces shown type thing. So anyway, get ready to go in and have some coffee. So we used to go and get coffee almost every Saturday. I'd say at least like 3 Saturdays out of a month. See, he and I used to work together about 4 years. Well, yeah, 4 years ago is when I left the place where he and I used to work together. But we used to go get coffee, like I said, almost every Saturday. Well, he actually started his own business a couple years ago. And since then, he's so busy that it's been difficult to meet up as often as we used to. Anyway, we'd been planning this and already rescheduled it like a couple times and was finally able to make it happen today. So we went to this place on Britton Road in Oklahoma City called Zero Tolerance Coffee. And it's a pretty cool traditional style coffee shop, and they also do craft chocolate there. Like, they make their own chocolate, which is super cool. I think he and I have been there maybe 3 or 4 times together. It's right down the street from his house, so he goes there fairly often. Like I said, it's only been 3 or 4 times that he and I have been there together. The people that own it are really cool. They're actually Orthodox Christian, which is different. You don't see a lot of that, but I remember they post on their Instagram when they take off for Orthodox Christmas and Orthodox Easter. It's a different date. It's later in the year than when the rest of us celebrate Christmas and Easter. But anyway, yeah, we got in there and we could tell it was already a lot busier than normal. When we got there, there was like 1 or 2 people in line ahead of us, so it wasn't too bad, and we got to order fairly quickly, but we could just tell they were super swamped. And one thing we didn't know is they have a back patio. We did know they had a back patio, but we didn't know that on Saturdays they have live music back there. So they had live music on the back patio, and there were some people hanging out there. But pretty much right after we sat down with our coffee, they just started getting a ton of people coming in. The line got long pretty quick, and we were glad that we got there when we did. At one point, I think the line was all the way to the door, so... Anyway, it's always a good time when Zach and I get to talk. He and I deal with a lot of the same issues, and I was telling him about doing this series. He doesn't spend a lot of time on social media, so he doesn't see, when I post new videos very much, but I was telling him about my idea and what I was kind of going for, and he thought it was a good idea. But he and I think with each other, we kind of bare our souls a little bit more and kind of are honest about what we're dealing with, like with each other. And so it's always a good time, kind of like a good counseling session, whenever he and I can sit down and talk, and we can kind of talk through with each other what we're dealing with. And I think I said this in my last video, but the last few days I've been on a fairly good high point. I titled this series In the Valley because that's kind of what I call it when I'm going through pretty heavy depression. And like I said, I've been in the valley for the last 4 months, and I would call the part that I'm in now, because like I said, I feel pretty good. It's still in the valley, but I'm in a high point in the valley, like a hill, I guess. Still haven't gotten out of the valley, but I have days, like a patch of 3 or 4 days here and there where I'm at a high point, and that's where I am now. And if you've seen any other videos, you can probably tell just by the way I'm talking right now, how my voice is and my inflections, and that it's better. It's still not completely me, but it's better. It's better. I have a little bit more energy, a little bit more enthusiasm, I guess is the best way to say it. But yeah, Zach, and I don't think he would mind me saying this, but he deals with some depression and anxiety as well. So we tend to kind of reach out to each other and sympathize and empathize with each other, you know, when we're going through these parts of our lives. So it's always nice just getting to sit down and catch up with him and talk. And he and I have been working on a music project together for quite a while, still waiting on it to actually come to fruition, but you know, we've been working on some songs and I think we're going to start jamming together before too long. But that area around Britton, the Britton district as it's called, there's a lot of new businesses going in, and I need to go back sometime. Stuff opens later up there, you know, I'm used to things opening early. For instance, the coffee shops around there open like 8 or 9, and a lot of the food places don't open till like 11 or so for lunch and whatnot. But I'd like to go back up there sometime and check out. There's a pizza place like right next door to Zero Tolerance Coffee. There's a new pizza place there, and I'd like to check that out. And then now you're gonna laugh if I tell you the Hispanic pronunciation of this place is El Coyote, which is the coyote in English. And it's on the corner of that same strip, and I've heard some pretty good things about that place, so I want to check it out sometime. The guys that I work with in the office, the 2 sons of the owner of our company, they're basically the sales team, inside sales team. They've been talking about going to El Coyote for lunch, because we eat Mexican food every Friday for lunch. Talking about going to check that out sometime. And then Zach and I also walked around. I guess there's a mural, like a mural festival or something. So there's a side of that building that shares a wall. It's the outside wall of El Coyote. It's got murals all over the wall. And then in the parking lot, there are like some spaces that are just kind of like individual little murals, more like just regular paintings, but they're on along a wooden fence, and they're just kind of hung there, which is cool. And then we walked around the building that's across the street from ZT Coffee, and on the back side, I didn't know this, there's an old record store called Alley Records, which makes sense because it's in the alley. But Zach was telling me about that, and I'd like to check it out sometime when it's open. But yeah, they don't open till like 11 or noon or something, so I need to find a time when I can go check that out. And we just kind of walked around the rest of that little strip of businesses there, and then around to the front side where there's another mural that's just about Britton, and it's got the Route 66 sign and all that. We hung out for about an hour and a half. All in all, it was a good time and good to catch up with him. And that's a pretty cool area. If you're ever looking for something to check out in the Oklahoma City area, definitely head up to Britton. It's off of Britton and Western. You can get onto Western at I-44, or you can get off on Britton Road from I-235. That's a pretty quick way. If you just get off 235 on Britton and head west, you'll eventually get there. If you're going that direction, you hit Western, you've gone too far. Or like I said, if you get off I-44 and go north on Western, you basically turn right onto Britton Road. When you get there, it's at the railroad tracks, and it's just a little ways over to get to ZT Coffee. But like I was saying, this is about being in the valley, and I wanted to highlight not just the lowest of low days. I wanted to portray or show you all what it's like when I'm having an up day. Like I said, it's still in the valley, but I'm on a hill. I'm on a hill in the valley, and you'll know whenever I'm completely out of the valley, and we'll talk about that when and if that happens. Like I said, I usually climb out of it in September and then have a bit of a break before falling back in around the holidays. So we'll see what happens. I just never was able to climb out of it this time. It started in July, and I've just been stuck. Days like today, the past 3 or 4 days have been pretty good, and like I said, I wanted to show that as well, not just the bad days. So that's what this daily journal is for. Well, thanks for watching to the end of this video. If you could, just please go ahead and leave a like, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel. We're going to keep doing these for quite a while. And also leave a comment. I haven't been getting a lot of comments on these videos, and what I'd like to do is if someone would comment and ask a specific question, I'd love to answer it in the next video. That way you can I can give a little bit more specific detail or insight into what it's like, you know, dealing with this. But anyway, once again, thanks for watching, and until next time, deuces.